All right, it's Halloween and it's game day. Texans versus Jets today. They return to the scene with a lot of ghosts. Something we really haven't talked about this week. Landry Locker, Cody Stoots live from New York. CJ Stroud returns to New York City. It was a terrible trip last year. CJ Stroud actually ended up getting concussed. That was what led to games such as Case Keenum goes to Nashville and beats the Titans, and the Cleveland Browns completely dominate the Texans. Those games were made possible because of this nightmarish trip to New York City. And now, from a nightmare last year to a night of nightmares, CJ Stroud returns to New York City. Little bit of a similar feeling because he's not going to have his top receivers. Last year, Dell out for the season. This year, Stefon Diggs out for the season. The week before, Nico Collins left the game early last time. Nico Collins not playing. So CJ Stroud returning to the place that wasn't too kind to him last year. He's not going to have his top two receivers. How do we feel about CJ Stroud's chance to redeem himself this year against the Jets, Cody?
I like it because he's playing an incredible level of football right now. Like if we had seen some, and I know the Green Bay game wasn't very good for anything when it comes to the offense outside of Joe Mixon for the Texans, but last week when he's in the face of pressure more than 50% of the time and Stefon Diggs goes down in the middle of the second half and they still go out there and finish off a Colts team that was fighting tooth and nail to pull even with them. And they did that in large part thanks to CJ Stroud's ability to avoid pressure, handle pressure, and operate with pressure. He's playing at an incredible level of football right now. And not to say that he wasn't last year, but I feel like it's just one of those things where when you see a quarterback kind of get in the zone, like we could be in a stretch here where Stroud's in the zone for 3-4 games, and you're like, man, even if this isn't going right or that's not going right, like there's that CJ Stroud superstar power that you can see from big time quarterbacks week in and week out.
Well, the other thing is, I think, it's kind of a balance. Like, do I think the Texans are CJ dependent or are they not CJ dependent? On one hand, I think the handling of the pressure is really kind of falls on his shoulders, which kind of sucks, but he has to handle it like he did last week as opposed to against Green Bay where he didn't. And on the other hand, I say, well, it's not like he has to just completely light the scoreboard up for them to win because against Green Bay, he threw for less than 100 yards. They lost on a last-second field goal to a really, really good team. And they have Joe Mixon, who's gotten 100 yards in every game that he's been in from start to finish. And they have a really, really good defensive line, which travels. So it'll be interesting to see how CJ handles it. He's definitely kind of fighting an uphill battle against the Jets, which is weird. Like the way we're talking about this game is not symbolic of what the Jets are and what the Texans are, because the Texans are depleted. They're a good football team. The Jets, they just have a favorable situation in that it's a short week and the Texans are without their receivers. So that's just kind of what's interesting about it. We'll see what happens with CJ Stroud. I do get a little bit worried because I do think this Jets defense is still capable of being pretty good. Like the thought of Quinnen Williams versus Kenyon Green is a little bit scary to me. We really, like, as much as we talk about how bad Kenyon Green has been, like we really haven't seen him just face doggish defensive tackles. And now he's going to face Quinnen Williams. And this is, I mean, he's faced some good ones, but he hadn't faced anything like this. So as much as like all the talk about Kenyon Green, this is the best player that he's gone against this year.
Yeah, DeForest Buckner coming off of an injury is not the same guy that Quinnen Williams is right now on a short week. When your confidence level is zero, like your confidence level's got to be low if you're Kenyon Green. So, and you got to go up against one of the best defensive tackles in football.
Yep.
Like that's a tough draw for you.
You also
that's a tough draw for CJ too.
No doubt. So I have a couple of theories. I have two off the wall theories that I want to get to at the end of the show. There's two. There's one that we've kind of touched on that I think could help the Texans. And then there's another one that it evolves. And this kind of worries me a little bit. This involves one of America's top fast food joints. And I just wonder, like, if this is truly a day of spirit, resurrection, waking from the dead, I wonder if this is going to factor in against the Texans. We'll get to that in about 15 minutes. But another opportunity for redemption outside of CJ Stroud, the wide receivers. Second chances for John Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson, and Tank Dell. Xavier Hutchinson and John Mechie, last year was their chance to step up. And before the game, it was a nice little scene. It was cool. It looked good on social media. They were wearing Tank Dell t-shirts. Every single one of the receivers were wearing Tank Dell t-shirts. Nico Collins ended up getting hurt. John Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson didn't do a damn thing. Now, there was hardly any opportunity to get the job done once CJ left. And quite frankly, these guys weren't getting open. But they get a chance at redemption. And Tank Dell, we talk about Tank Dell a lot. I think this is a game where Tank Dell has to be by far the number one guy. I don't care. Like we can talk about reasons why Tank Dell hasn't produced this year. This is the first time that Tank Dell is head and shoulders your number one wide receiver. CJ Stroud says he's one of the best in the league. Last year, it had to have been hard for Tank. He had to sit and watch them in New York as his season came to an end. This is a chance at redemption for CJ. This is a chance at redemption for Tank Dell. I'm not sitting here saying he has to be Nico Collins. I'm not even sitting here saying he has to be Stefon Diggs. He has to look like, by far, the Texans' best receiver today. That is not too much to ask. No drop touchdowns. He's got to get the job done, Tank Dell.
No question. One of the underrated parts of talking to Tank this week was when you brought this up, and he just said, very honestly, and he wasn't joking, he said, just don't remind me about last year, how he missed the Jets game because that was the first game he missed after he broke his leg against Denver. And you talk about him being the best for the Texans. I think that's for sure got to be the case. Like if somebody else is better than they've had some sort of like transcendent game, like, okay, you'll live with it. You know, like Hutchinson has a Noah Brown-esque game where it's like 5 for 125. Like, oh, okay, like you'll live with him being the best guy that day because it's super unexpected. But as far as expectations, through the roof for Tank Dell. Landry, I'd take it a step further. He may need to be, for the Texans to win, one of the two best receivers on the field tonight. And I don't know if he's going to be better than Garrett Wilson because Wilson's playing an incredible level of football right now. But if he could be better tonight than what Devontae Adams is, and he's one of the two best receivers on the field, the Texans have got a chance to win this.
Yeah, 12 receptions, 155, Rocky says. I think that's a lot. If that happens, then you're feeling pretty good about that. Victor in the chat, shout out to everyone, SNL. Game day. Post game, by the way, the locker room night stream is nightly at 10:30. It's going to be a post game show tonight. Oh, my gosh, I can't wait for that. He says they're losing tonight, sadly. There's a good chance. There's a very, very good chance that they lose tonight. The New York field is frightening. I agree. I don't appreciate D'Amico trying to get me to tear my ACL either.
They're definitely losing if Tank Dell doesn't show up. So, I mean, they don't have enough juice on that offense in the air.
They got juice.
What?
They got juice on offense?
In the air, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, Juice Scruggs.
I mean, because they can run the ball, and I believe that Joe Mixon's going to run the ball, and I feel like he's going to run the ball every week until otherwise proven. So I know they're going to be good on the ground. If Dell's not good tonight, I don't know how they're moving the ball consistently through the air.
Yeah.
So he's got to be fantastic.
Yeah, and the running back depth is a suspect now because Dameon Pierce is hurt. So, does Dari Gumbawale handle it? Like, what do they do there? They're handcuffed at running back. They're handcuffed at wide receiver. So that's another factor to take into account when it comes to the Texans.
Last week they only had, two non-Joe Mixon running back carries.
Well, last week wasn't on a Thursday night in New York. That's the problem. Like this is where you can use guys to like give you some sort of breather or something like that. And Dameon Pierce, as has been the case the majority of his career when he's actually playing in some way, shape, or form, he's unavailable. And I don't want to give that old ass coaching cliche. Availability is the best ability, but they really could have used Dameon Pierce today, and they don't have him, and that's a damn shame. And we'll see if there's any other carries, or if they just ask Joe Mixon to do a lot and then rest up and ice up till Detroit. Who knows?
I don't feel good about Dari Gumbawale or JJ Taylor carrying the football.
Shouldn't. Do the Texans have a shot tonight? That's the question. It seems like the betting markets would say no, and I think that the wise guys feel like the Jets are the squad. Look, this is the thing. This is the thing that I want to ask, and I think this kind of circles back. Like, is Aaron Rodgers a ghost? Like, is he going to be a ghost that reappears looking like what he once was, or is he just going to look like a washed up ghost? I mean, the guy, What does the guy have to play for? And I know we can sit here and say pride and all this type of stuff, but when you're 40 plus years old, when you gassed up the return and all this, and it's, oh my God, it's redemption and all that, and you're 2-6, and you're having to play a game on a Thursday. I mean, what is Aaron Rodgers really like mentally? What is Aaron Rodgers? What is stopping him from completely mailing it in? Furthermore, the coaching staff of the Jets, I mean, I don't know what these guys are about. It just doesn't resemble a staff that knows what the hell they're doing.
I mean, they've lost 5 straight games. He hasn't played good in most of those games. The body's betraying him. Father Time caught up to him a lot faster than most people thought that he was going to. And the 55-gallon drum of quit could be very prevalent in this game for the Jets if the Texans can get some early success going, especially on defense. Because
you think he's got to retire mid-season?
He might need to retire mid-game if Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter have a good enough start to this thing. I just don't know how he's going to survive this the rest of the season. And I don't know how he can get that amped up level of intensity that it feels like he had for so much of his career when this season has just it's gone in no way like he thought it was going to.
This is the wheel. Like people don't know who will Aaron Rodgers who will he blame? This is his Halloween game tonight if the Texans lose. I got this from Bobby Belt out there at 105.3 The Fan. This is the Aaron Rodgers wheel. Who will he blame if he doesn't come through today?
Wayne Crabette being on there is a great one.
He's on there, man. You got to figure it out. Aaron Rodgers, who's he going to blame if they lose tonight? That's the question. Is he a ghost? Is he washed? Who the hell knows?
Landry, you and I were talking about this week 2. It was week 1. I feel like I texted you during that first primetime game the Jets played. He's not moving well. And that was 7 weeks ago.
No, and that was
7 weeks ago.
Spinning plays. And he's not, I mean, he doesn't have the spin on it that he always has. It takes a little bit more for him to get it going. So that's the thing. This D line, like there's nothing that concerns me about this Texans D line. I actually think this could be the Nico Autry game where we kind of see him gut one out and make a couple plays.
Maybe. I mean, look, I don't know how they're blocking Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter because Morgan Moses is banged up, and then Tyron Smith. Usually injuries
Tyron's hurt, and he's old.
Well, usually
he's really, really good.
Usually, you're worried about if he just hasn't been good this year.
Yeah,
like when he has been playing, he hasn't been good. Like
he's old,
and he's older, and they bought a lemon, so to speak, at left tackle.
I feel we'll get a tank game. Shout out to Devin. I feel we'll get a tank game because his targets weren't up as usual from watching the game. I don't know about stats. The targets, even when he's gotten targets this year, he really just hasn't produced that much. But yeah, the tank game is very possible. We appreciate you, Devin. A couple of localized thoughts here. Be sure to swarm the like button, please.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
But a couple of random Jets localized thoughts. I have 3 things here. And then we'll get to I have 2 random theories and I have 2 localized thoughts that kind of connects these 2 teams because I always like to connect the 2 teams. Neville Hewitt did not make the list. I know he used to play for the Jets. Neville Hewitt did not make the list. He's not there. But the luck of the off-field scandal, really maybe for both teams. The Deshaun Watson factor, he was untradeable when the Jets had the number 2 overall pick. And Watson's camp was saying that they wanted him to play in New York. And the Jets, I think, were open to it before the scandal happened. And they also, if you recall, had the extra draft picks. They had 2 first-round picks, and they had multiple draft picks as a result of the Jamal Adams trade. So they would have been a team that, A, had the draft equity, B, Deshaun Watson, because he had the no-trade clause, would have been interested in going to. But he was untradeable. So as a result, the Texans held on to him. They didn't send him to the Jets, and they did not get the number 2 overall pick, which, let's be honest, they would have taken one of those quarterbacks after Trevor Lawrence. We don't know which one. Would it have been Mac Jones? Would it have been Trey Lance? Would it have been Zach Wilson? I think it probably would have been Zach Wilson. They might have done the same thing. But the Texans did not do that, and they held on to Deshaun Watson, basically dead weight for a year plus, and then they ended up making one of the best trades in NFL history with the Cleveland Browns. So there was an off-field scandal, a little bit of luck. Here's my question, though. Did the Jets kind of luck out too by going through the Zach Wilson thing instead of the Deshaun Watson thing?
No, because if you were able to trade Deshaun, then the scandal wasn't happening. And so,
well, what if they traded him and then the scandal happened? What if there was like a delay?
Well, I don't know if he wouldn't have missed football if he wouldn't have missed a season. The commissioner didn't put him on the commissioner's exempt list. So he would have played.
Yeah. So the moral of this is the scandal. It in a strange way helped the Texans get a better trade for the Jets.
Now maybe he shot as a football player regardless once he left Houston. Doesn't matter when he started playing.
Maybe
if it was going to be 2021 or 2022, but maybe his give a crap factor was just so low, so that would have been an issue. But the Jets probably 8 weeks ago thought that they were in a much better spot than having Deshaun Watson. That's not the case.
Speaking of 2022, former college teammate of Xavier Hutchinson, Bree Hall. We thought that the Texans were interested in him. I think there's logical reason to believe that they may have been interested in a running back. However, the Jets traded up for Bree Hall, and as a result, the Texans took Jalen Petrie. Man, at Bree Hall, really, really nice back. Texans end up with Jalen Petrie. There's a little bit of drama there. Bree Hall, not the best start to the season, but I think he's starting to find his groove. I actually think he's one of the bigger factors of today. I think I respect Bree Hall in every area of being a running back. I think the Texans can contain him when it comes to running the rock, but out of the backfield and stuff, I do think that's something to keep an eye on.
That draft pick maybe changes the trajectory of the offense a little bit over the past couple of years. You probably still end up with the same quarterback situation and Will Anderson and all that, but the offense would look vastly different over the past couple of seasons, last year and then what you've seen this year. If Bree Hall's here, I don't believe Joe Mixon would be here if Bree Hall had been in the draft pick a couple of years ago. And then the safety situation would obviously be different. If you hire the Nico Ryans, Jimmy Ward probably still ends up here. Jimmy Ward probably still misses time.
A lot.
Probably still playing backup safeties.
Hell of a lot. Q says our O-line sucks. I feel bad for CJ. I hope our head coach is looking at the freaking tapes on Texans games and open his eyes how bad the O-line is playing and not protecting. I'm pretty sure they're aware. I'm pretty sure they're watching the tapes. I'm sure they're aware that CJ is not getting. So your Halloween wish, if you want the coach to watch the tapes, I think it's good. So shout out to you, Q. Shout out to you. Good morning, Derek. Shout out to you. Thanks for getting. I was thinking Stoots might not get up. Stoots got hammered and did some drugs last night.
That's not true.
Which is dangerous. There's like chemicals floating around, but Stoots. Let's just say Stoots' nose was a little powdery last night.
That's not true.
But hey,
that's not true. I did eat enough seafood to potentially get mercury poisoning, though.
There you go.
I have a Halloween question for you about this Texans offense.
If you ask me about candy corn, I'm leaving.
No. Halloween.
I don't need that hackage crap here.
I have a Halloween question about the offense tonight.
Okay.
Halloween, you say trick or treat.
Yeah.
How many plays tonight will Bobby Slowick call that are tricks, like his sideways stuff, his goofy, what the hell are you doing, Bobby? And how many times will we be treated to good Bobby Slowick play calls? More tricks or treats?
I'm going to say no trick plays tonight.
Okay, so no. Not
with the backup receivers. I'm going to say no trick plays. Actually, I think they run a flea flicker. I think we see a flea flicker tonight. I think tonight is flea flicker night.
We haven't seen a flea flicker from them yet, have we?
I think tonight is flea flicker night from Bobby Slowick.
Okay.
I also think this. I could see if they're near midfield, I could see a fake punt. If it's like 4th and 4, 4th and 5, I could see the Texans run a fake punt. I think that happens eventually, like near midfield-ish though, not deep in territory, but short. I could see Tommy Townsend's athletic, man. He was a quarterback, wide receiver in high school. Actually, pretty athletic guy. I could see that. So I'll say one flea flicker and perhaps a fake punt, depending on the situation. Treats, I think Bobby will dial up some gems. The reality is he's dialed up some gems, and sometimes they just haven't protected them as well. Like you look at it and say, damn, that could have been nice. So I'll say 4 gems, 1 treat.
Okay. I like that. Because of all the weeks to not have any practices.
4 treats, 1 trick. My bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Of all the weeks to not have any practices, when you got to reshape the wide receiver situation, this was a sucky week. So let's see what Bobby Slowick can do, and let's see how much he trusts those guys.
Or maybe it's a good week because these guys won't be thinking as much.
Yeah, maybe that's
Bobby won't be thinking and just go out there and play ball. We're not overdoing it. There could be something to that. Jake Johnson says, if Green plays as bad as he did last week, do you think he'll get benched? And if so, how fast into the game that happens? The answer would be yes. The fear would be the Halloween fear, I should say, would be, I don't know how much better it looks with Kendrick Green. There's no guarantee. So we'll see.
I mean, I'm ready to try anything. I'm ready to try anything besides Kenyon Green at left guard.
Someone says, stop saying that about Stoots. He didn't do that. Yeah, Stoots did not get cocaine in the streets of New York if you didn't do that. So there you go. I apologize to Miss Paneline. I was kidding. It was a joke.
My vice is food.
Joke. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. That's on me.
My vice is food.
I apologize. There you go. He ate pizza and all that type of stuff. So there you go. He is a water thief, though. There's no doubt about that.
I just thought ahead.
There it is again. Stocked up on that water chat. Oh, I guess people in the chat are saying it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, they're just kidding. They know Stoots. Stoots is a square. They know that.
I don't. I mean, squares. That's.
If he did it, I'd be proud of him, honestly. Texans currently +2 tonight. Bet US promo code YouTube 150. You can get even money on the Texans. Can they gut one out? This would be one of those gutsy dubs. You know what I compare this game to? And it was last year. It was after New York. I would compare it almost to the Case Keenum win in Tennessee. And I know people say, "Well, you got CJ Stroud." You do, but they gutted that game out. Like it was. I think this is kind of like a gut out game. You don't have your top 2 receivers. It's a short week. It's not a favorable situation. No one's really. I mean, they're really not getting much of a chance if we're being honest. Like I haven't seen anyone really pick the Texans. I think on a higher scale and in a different situation, last year gutting it out against the Titans gave you a chance to win the division. You don't win the division without that game. This gives you a chance to start looking at maybe home field or something like that. If you can gut this one out, so I think it's the same level of guts with obviously a different feel because you don't have Case Keenum, the ghost of Case Keenum, I should say, under center.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the more gutty performances of the Nico Ryans era if they pull off the win here. It's not going to rise to the level.
And they've had a few.
They've had some really interesting ones.
We could list the top 5 of gutsy wins under DeMeco Ryans, and he hadn't even been. He's just barely over 20 games as a head coach.
Yeah. So
25 to be exact, 27 if you count playoffs.
I look at this one tonight, Landry, and I don't know how the Jets are moving the football consistently, and I don't know how they're going to protect Aaron Rodgers enough. And so I believe the defense is going to do their job. It's just up to what can the offense bring. I like Joe Mixon's ability to just put this team on his back offensively. Short week, is it tougher for him to do that? Can Stroud and this wide receiver group give you enough? And it's not going to be, unless the defense is just destroying the Jets every time they're on the field,
which is possible, man.
Which is certainly possible.
Of all the things that we're talking about, and tonight it's supposed to be beautiful weather. 70. It's actually going to be 76 degrees. The last I checked at kickoff, it is going to be freaking beautiful. This is not last year. It was the worst weather that I've seen. It was disgusting. You just
rainy,
awful, cold, nasty, all that. This is not that. So they do have that going for them. But I'm with you. Like with this D line, you just feel like you're showing up to a fight and you always got a chance. You always got a chance. So we'll see how that goes. By the way, Danielle Hunter probably not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan, man. They've got some history. He probably sees Aaron Rodgers start foaming at the mouth, ready to go get him.
Especially this version that can't get away from a pass rush.
There's something nobody's talking about. Danielle Hunter, disgusted by Aaron Rodgers because of his days in Minnesota and Green Bay. Other things we're not talking about. Crazy storylines, the Saleh factor. Do it for Robert Saleh. The spirit of Robert Saleh. D'Amico Ryans, one of his good buddies. Bobby Slowick likes Robert Saleh. Matt Burke coached for him. The Robert Saleh factor. Y'all fired him. Y'all blamed him. This one is for you, Robert. They got an extra game. I heard there is an extra game ball for Robert Saleh if the Texans win this game. That may or may not be true news. But I've heard there's an extra game ball they're going to send to old Robert if they get this dub.
Oh, man.
Now, there's another thing, though, that I'm a little bit concerned about.
Do it for Bob Saleh. Wow.
Do it for Bob Saleh. This is another thing that I'm a little bit worried about. And this is kind of symbolic, man. And you people might call me crazy. You people might call me nuts here. But this is what I'm concerned about. The Davante Adams Taco Bell theory.
The Davante Adams Taco Bell theory, a one-of-a-kind creation from Landry Locker.
So Davante Adams today, you can say that he's kind of been MIA, missing in action, and the Jets fans would like him to raise from the dead, right? That's what they would like. They would like him to just kind of raise from the dead.
Yep.
Today, Taco Bell, which is where Davante Adams stars in commercials. Taco Bell is raising 5 things from the dead on the same day that Davante Adams is trying to raise from the dead on the national stage. They are putting out the nostalgia menu, Taco Bell. They're bringing back the 1960s tostada, which was really, really good. The 1960s tostada is back. This is this is for $2.19. You get the tangy red sauce, the refried beans, the tostada. Everybody loved a good tostada. They're also bringing back the 70s green sauce burrito. My gosh, look at this. Refried beans, crunchy onions, shredded cheddar cheese, green sauce made with chili, tomatillos, jalapeno peppers, and spices. They're bringing back the Mexi Melt today. The Mexi Melt is back. They're bringing back the 90s Gordita Supreme, and then they're bringing back the 2000s caramel apple empanada. So I'm a little bit concerned that this could be symbolic, that the face of Taco Bell on the day that they're bringing back and resurrecting all these menu items, maybe Davante Adams raises from the dead as well. These are my theories. It might be a slow day. These are just my theories, okay? The Saleh factor and the Taco Bell factor. Which one will happen?
The caramel apple empanada is not coming back until November 21st. That might be the next time Davante Adams is a useful wide receiver too.
Okay, good.
So,
but those 4 things are coming back, if I'm not mistaken.
They are, yes, yeah. The what you talked about is for sure. They're just waiting on the caramel apple empanada. That green burrito, get it grilled. It didn't come grilled back then, but get it grilled now. I bet that's delicious.
So I'm going to Vegas. They got the Taco Bell Cantina, which is basically like the elite Taco Bell, where you can get elite Taco Bell. Dude, I guarantee I'm gonna be stoned walking through there, getting that. We'll see how that goes.
I went to Taco Bell in Times Square to use the bathroom yesterday because there's no public restrooms anywhere in New York.
Look at you. That's what's
it was huge. It was not Vegas huge, but it was huge compared to your typical Taco Bell. And paper straws everywhere in New York.
Yeah, that's whack. Paper straws suck. Let's just be honest. They're a waste. They suck. They're terrible. Nobody appreciates a paper straw. Whack. I just won't use a straw if you're going to give me a paper straw. Throw it away, please. So do the Texans have a shot tonight? I think they do. Yes. I think there's a lot against the Texans. The Jets are not good. And I saw in the chat, must be a slow news day. It's damn sure not a slow news day. It's early in the morning. And the reality is breaking down the Jets is a waste of time. They're not a good football team. Are they going to show up? Are they going to show up polls? Who knows? Quite frankly, the Texans are playing with house money right now. We'll see how it goes. +2 is the line. we'll see how that goes whenever the Texans get on the field. Texans versus Jets tonight on Amazon. And
Fox 26 locally in Houston.
Thank God. We'll watch that. It's still the same broadcast though, but Fox 26, right. You don't have to mess with Amazon. Amazon skips a lot. I don't know what they're doing there. It's not fun. Amazon is not fun to watch TV on. It's just not. It's not enjoyable. So yeah, Fox 26 is my play in Houston. If you're not in Houston, we have a lot of people who aren't in Houston. Put it on Amazon. And we talked about, could this guy raise from the dead? Is this guy a ghost? The guy doing play-by-play, let's be honest, he's been dead for a while. Al Michaels dead. There's not any rising. Al Michaels is dead. Let's just be serious about it. I think that's the one thing we can agree on. Jets fans are pretty nasty, pretty mean, pretty crazy. I've never seen more men slide in DMs than Jets fans. I said something no, it was weird. All I said was Joe Flacco's better than Zach Wilson because Joe Flacco won a game and it was like, we won a game without Zach Wilson. And I said, well, Joe Flacco's actually better than Zach Wilson. This was a few years ago. Thousands of just Jets fans just talking nasty about me, which is cool. But then I'm getting like DMs from like random ass Jets fans and logos talking about like family. And that's not like two people did it. I'm talking like at least 100 like DM slidings of men sliding in the DMs, which is just really, really weird. They're crazy, but I think we can all agree. I'm saying all this to unite. I'm not trying to divide. It's a time to unite. Al Michaels sucks. We can agree with that now. He used to be great. He's awful. Man,
I felt like I was early to the Al Michaels stinks train. And then everybody's finally on board, and it's
now. I will say this: he's lingering around. He's a goat, though. He's a legend. He was great. Sure. He's not like a guy that was never good lingering around, but he actually was a good broadcaster at once. He didn't like use writing to broadcast and like linger around. So he's a dead ghost. There's other dead ghosts, but at least he was like really good at one point. So we'll see how this goes. Texans versus Jets tonight. Get your bets in. Promo code YouTube 150 on BetUS. Get your game face on because all my night streamers 10:30. It's gonna be a post game show tonight. It's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be a real
dress up
one.
For the post game show.
No, I don't wear Halloween costumes lately. I will take my daughter trick or treating. She does not seem to like her Halloween costume, but hey, it's all good.
What is she gonna be?
She's like a princess. They didn't have like a huge selection. The reality is that she was gonna be Elmo. We didn't get to that. So she's like a Minnie Mouse princess. She didn't seem to like it too much. She had her first piece of candy though yesterday, like a little sucker, and then she was using her sign language with the bag. She can use sign language already. She goes more. This is more. So she does more like whenever she wants like more food or anything like that. So
that's impressive.
Well, it's not because now she's asking for candy and it's like, yeah, hey, don't push it there, kid. You just had one piece. Quite frankly, we're just going to get candy. You're probably not even going to eat it. I'm probably going to jack your candy. So yeah, let's be serious.
What's your favorite candy?
Peanut M&Ms. Yeah, peanut.
People don't really give those out on Halloween, do they? They do the little bags.
Yeah, they do the little bag, but like getting like 4 peanut M&Ms is not that enjoyable. And the little Snickers kind of sucks too. Like,
yeah, the little tiny square ones.
Square, like I mean, it's I almost feel like you got to get the Skittles, man. Like the Skittles or
a little tiny bag of Skittles is satisfying. But you're right. 4 peanut M&Ms don't really do the trick.
Yeah, it's kind of a tease, right? Like. Yeah. Not fun. Everybody likes Reese's Pieces. I'm not a big Reese's Pieces guy. Not a fan.
I'm a 100 grand guy.
The hell is that?
You never had a 100 grand bar?
No.
Oh man, it's great.
Who hands that out?
Whoever does that is the best neighbor in the neighborhood.
There's no way that you could track down 100 grand.
Oh, 100 grand bars are prevalent. They're delicious.
Someone says Twix. Twix goes in, man. What are double starbursts?
Double starburst?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that means.
Double starburst. Dude, candy is expensive. Dude, Derek, brother, thank you, man. I never buy candy unless it's like just one, like on the way out. Dude, like a Halloween bag's like $15-$20 now.
Yeah,
it's like 100, 200 pieces. It's like this ain't no 100, 200 pieces. It's 10 pieces just for a normal size candy bar.
The the grocery stores will put the candy nobody wants on sale, and then they charge exorbitant prices for the other candy that everybody actually wants to give out.
Life hack for folks, and I'll just let y'all know this, and then we'll get out of here on this. We'll get ready for game day. The best day to buy candy is the day after Valentine's Day, or the day after Halloween, because it goes on sale. It's the same candy. It's just a different color, but Valentine's is like a feast because they have all that purple and pink and stuff candy. You go like February 16th or February 14th or 15th to buy Valentine's Day, man, you're in good shape. Or just go buy the Valentine's stuff. Like the best thing was when when me and wifey were long distance or something like that, and you had to set up the date. If she was coming on like February 16th or something to celebrate Valentine's Day, I'm going until the 15th, brother. Damn, you went all in on the candy. Yes, I did. Yeah,
Yes,
it's special. You're special.
I got you a chocolate heart. I got you the little mini box of candy. I got you the big box of candy. And I only spent $7.
Texans versus Jets. Do you think they have a chance? Let us know. Post game tonight. SNL reaction, not Monday, Friday, tomorrow, 9:00. That's going to be the normal time from here on out. Appreciate everyone for joining us yesterday. It was 5:00. Yesterday was basically the Friday version. We're back on a normal schedule next week. But quite frankly, I like this schedule. I like this sprint, and we'll see what the Texans can do. It's going to be fun to watch them on this platform. For Cody Stoots, I'm Landry Locker. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good.